Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. If you are interested, or I highly encourage you guys to check out the UPRN website, uprntalkradio.com, and just check out all of the great shows that UPRN has. You can find all of our hosts, you can find all of our archives, thousands of shows for you guys to access and be entertained, educated, and diverse. The shows are so diverse, so please take a moment to check us out. I hope everybody's had a good week. Lots has been going on. That's for darn sure. Just gonna pop over. Hi Heidi, how are you doing? I was thinking about you this week. I don't know if you were feeling you, but I was thinking about you, so I'm glad to see you here. Hi Sandra. Hi James, my dear friend James from Washington, Wizard Radio FM. Please check out his YouTube channel and give him a like and follow. There is something for everyone on UPRN, Heidi. I agree. Hi, Heather. So Heather Stewart McLaughlin is a friend and colleague. She is a spiritual mentor. She was part of Julie Krause spiritual mentorship called Becoming. So she has this fabulous property not far from where I am. And please take a moment to check out her Come to the Forest. Thank you. Come to the Forest. So all of the wonderful offerings that she has there. And her Heather, it just opened, right? March 1st. So you're not even really a full month in. There's a lot of anticipation getting to that opening date. So I'm really excited for you. Hi, Julie. Astrolight Paranormal. Everybody, Astrolight. It's Victoria Cheeseman. I'm kind of outing you a wee bit. So Victoria is going to be coming on April 25th. So mark your calendars. If you haven't signed up for my newsletter, it's carrieLynnShellhorn.com. You can head to the website and sign up for my newsletter. In the newsletter, only goes out once a month because I get, that's about the amount of time that I've got. I don't email everybody. I don't spam you guys at all. So you get the newsletter once a month. Intuitive tip, upcoming events. And honestly, the upcoming events have been more up to date in the newsletter because I'm only just updating the 2025 calendar on the website. And at this point, I feel like I've just been so busy and not organized that people will be upset when they see how full a lot of things are already before I advertise them on the website. So I'm trying to add some new fun stuff. I've got a lot of fun things happening. This weekend, weather permitting, I'll be at the Coach and Lantern doing a Dining with the Dead event. It's a 250-year-old limestone building with in-house spirits. So I'm bringing all of my paranormal equipment, not all, a lot, so that people that are dining can check out paranormal equipment if they've not had the opportunity to do that. And I'll be sharing messages from the other side as well too. I'm going to be returning to Thunder Bay this year for the Lake Superior Paracon in October 16th through the 18th. I'll be doing a gallery reading, so a little different than what I did last year. And I'll be doing a talk. There's so many fabulous speakers and people returning. So the tickets are available starting tomorrow for the Paracon. Jason Kenzie is going to be there doing, he's taking people on a Sasquatch expedition as well too, folks. These are some of the extra things that there's a paranormal investigation, so many great speakers, there'll be vendors as well too. So those tickets go on sale tomorrow. What else? Hi, Lorraine. Hi, Cynthia Waghorn. Anita, Thank you for being here. Everybody in the chat, please shout out to Anita because it is her birthday today. And we all love Anita. So please say happy birthday to Anita. Hi, Michelle Plummer. Heidi is also, sorry that I didn't mention it earlier. Heidi, our friend Heidi Gold, she's such a big supporter of our UPRN network. And she is also part of she's part of a podcast. I guess it's called podcast. It's everything. It is all the things. Richie and Wojo are all the things. So banter, Bigfoot banter with Richie B on YouTube. There's a lot. If you are interested in Sasquatch, it's so great. The guys take you out as they're in Richie's backyard in that back 40, and you get to investigate with them live. It's amazing, the stuff that happens. Thank you guys for making Anita's day. Doug, thank you for being here. Oh, I thought I would turn that down. Hi, Sandra Kordick. Kathy Lemire, thank you for being here. You're welcome. Heidi. I think those are all the things. Okay, volume's down on my phone. I'm so sorry, folks. I think those are all the things that I wanted. Oh, the Princess Ave. If you guys participated in the Love Life Afterlife last year in St. Thomas at the Princess Avenue Playhouse in St. Thomas, it's a former church. And it is... It again is in house spirits, right? Because it was a former church and now a theater. There's so much happening there. There's spots that are just they don't give you friend vibes, for sure. They do not give you friend vibes, that section. So I'll be doing that again this year. So that's October 4th, and the tickets will be going available soon. We are going to tier it again this year. So we'll be doing the gallery and the VIP tickets for the paranormal investigation of the theater. And I've been slowly accumulating some new paranormal equipment to try out in the different places, hopefully. Leaning towards what those venues are to see if it creates a different experience or response. So I'm excited about all of those things. Oh, Kevin, hi, Sea Sun Dragon. I'm glad that you're here to catch this live. I have been very excited about having this segment, looking forward to it. I know when I tossed the idea out, there was a wee moment of a hesitation and saying yes. And as soon as I said, please just come hang out with me and my friends, because everybody in the chat, you guys are part of the show, right? You guys help make the show what it is in your love and support and asking questions. And that was something I wanted to focus our conversation about today, was our individual journeys with our intuition and spirituality and the paranormal, and how we incorporate all of that, and how important community is. Because once I get my guests out, I want to share part of my the length and history of my friendship with Allie. And I'm just glad that I get to share her with all of you guys. So, okay. Veteran of the U.S. Air Force and emergency disaster recovery manager at the state of Arizona, empath, tarot reader, and budding medium, we have Lori Cunningham. And this is our first time meeting too, isn't it, Lori? I'm very excited that you get to be here. And it's a pleasure to share our Allie.
It is. Oh my gosh. I was so excited when I was invited. It's like, what am I going to share? I don't know. And Allie was like, you've got this and you've got this. So thank you for having me. I'm really excited to join everybody, and happy birthday, Anita.
Yeah, thank you. And it is. And that's what I wanted to talk about, our journey and the community and having communities so we feel safe to be vulnerable in exploring our intuition, right?
It makes such a difference,
Yeah.
such a difference. And being at the beginning, towards the beginning of my journey, I'm really excited about it. And I've written down Wizard Radio FM, Astrolight Paranormal. I'm like, oh, I can put these other things out too. So I'm really excited. Thank you.
And this is what it's about. So Christina Watts, Christina, I'm going to do a shout out with you as well too. Can you share? Oh, I think that I'm really sorry, Heather, somewhere up there, cometotheforest.ca. So Heather did share her website, her website on there. And Heather Watts is also extremely intuitive and has her own services as well too. Like there's so many people here that are doing this work and are supportive of one another. So Michelle Wilfong, thank you for being here. Folks, if you want to take a second to follow Michelle Wilfong on TikTok, she has My Haunted Apartment. So she shares videos from her home and the activity that happens there. Okay, my friends, here we go. Author, spiritual teacher, mentor, tarot reader, bright light who I love and adore. And I can see that her partner's in behind. So Kenny, stay there for a second. Ali Prefontaine and Kenny. Yes, Kenny Osborne.
Hi, happy birthday, Anita. Happy birthday.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Kenny, I don't remember how long ago. It was a while now. I saw this picture of an actor and I sent it to Allie and I went, oh my God, this is like Kenny's twin. Look at dude.
Look just like him.
I know. It was crazy.
She didn't share.
She didn't?
I did. He just doesn't remember.
That could be.
Oh.
Let the pups out.
I wanted to let people know, I created an online intuitive mentoring group. Right? I think I'm in year 6 now with the private group. It could have been Graham McTavish, Lorraine. I'd have to double check, but very well could be. And I started it because we met through Lisa Williams. So Lisa Williams, the medium from UK, who was in California, who's in California now, or I don't know, she may have moved at that point. But I was like in a not good space when we met. I was in the muck and mire of like learning, growing, feeling all the feels, accountability, understanding, energetic cord cutting. I was like really in that process. And I was so excited at the idea of having you on the show because you've just witnessed like my whole growth from being in that place to where I'm at now. And even my children, like I'm a grandma now and my baby was 2.
I know, I can't believe that.
But I get called Queenie, so not grandma. I'm like Queenie. But you were always so held space for me in a beautiful way. You and Deb Morse, right? You and Deb Morse loved me when I didn't love myself. When I didn't feel that I was lovable, you guys just held space unconditionally. And that's where, Lori and I started with community is so important. Even though I was having experiences as a kid, to have this community where we could explore intuition. And it was good for me to be a part of that. I mean, that was like 18 years ago because I knew that I didn't want drama-rama or any of the other stuff that comes along with that. So how I wanted it to unfold in the community that I wanted to create, right? So this is kind of my way of saying thank you to you too, is having you on. And
it's been a pleasure to see you grow and to see the way that you faced your demons. I mean, you really did. You faced the demons, you took them by the horns, and you said, sit down, I'm the one in charge, and this is the way it's going to be. And your growth has just been spectacular. And it has been a pleasure to see how you have just expanded yourself and expanded your abilities. And I mean, you own it. You own it. And I'm so proud of you. Proud of you.
Thank you. I was thinking about, just even for me watching your family unit too, and the growth that you've had, and how, it was a pleasure for me too, to witness that. And that I live up here in Canada, so far away from you guys, right? And it didn't matter, like having those online friendships that are family. You still create family connections, even though you're not in person with one another.
I think we tend to underestimate sometimes the connections that we have online. You and I have never shook hands, but I have such a profound love for you. And, I want nothing but the best, and we take for granted those online, we call it family because it's friends that are family. So we take for granted those online connections. But like with Deb Morris, she's another one I've been connected with, but never met in person, and there's so many people on my Facebook that are like that. And yet we know that we have each other's back if needed.
Yeah. So Lori, how did you meet Allie? I would love to hear this connection as well too.
All luck. It was all luck.
I bet. Just wait, Kenny. You're not out of the picture yet. We're gonna bring you into this conversation in a second too.
It was. I got to meet Allie at one of our local metaphysical shops. It's beautiful. It's kind of like, imagine Cheers with a spiritual. There's always a table. There's always someone there drinking coffee. So it's just this amazing place. And I took a few of her classes, and then we just started talking, and we became friends. She helped introduce me to this. What I realized is, like, I've been looking for this all my life. Oh my gosh. I've been doing witchcraft all my life and didn't know it. I've been interacting.
So not looking for it, just remembering that it was.
Just remembering. Yeah, just memories, and then I took actually her spirit guide class, and it was like, oh my gosh, one of my guides actually came to me in class and just kind of like, been with you the whole time, and you didn't even realize it. So I've had amazing experiences with Allie and with what she's taught, and it's just grown from there. So I consider her a beautiful, amazing, blessed friend. I'm just glad she's in my life, because if she wasn't, I'd hunt her down and drag her back.
I feel the same way, Lori.
I think we all feel that way about Allie.
Thank you, you guys. You humble me.
Well,
amazing.
I think sometimes that we don't realize how much we inspire other people, even just doing what we're doing in our lane, that other people are watching and observing, even though we may not be aware of it, right? The things that we do for other people, and we're still inspiring one another. Hi, Contessa. Hi, Fiona. Thank you for being here. Okay, Kenny. How did you meet our lovely Allie?
Well, we were always meant to meet. We were always meant to be together. We were the one that, we had rough other lives. And we knew that we were that one that we were supposed to find, that, that tells you that, you think it's got to be better. It's got to be someone else, that's for me. And that's how we found each other. I'm an actor in Tombstone. Well, not part-time, but I've died a bunch of times in Tombstone. And
can't wait to hear about it.
A friend of ours, that's her neighbor. We would always get together on the weekends and have a little fire and party. And she walked over one day. They invited her over, and it was kind of a sling of luck that she walked over. And as soon as she walked up, I seen her, and I just spouted out. I says, "Oh, you're that hot neighbor that they're always talking about."
That was smooth.
I was pretty under the wind. I don't remember how many tequilas I was in.
It was fate.
It was fate.
It was synchronicity, actually.
Yeah. If it wasn't for that same friend to tell me that when she was ready to depart, and I said, "Well, you have a good night." He said, "Do I need to hit you over the head with a log to get you?" She wants you to go with her. What?
And we've been together ever since.
Love that.
Yeah, it's nice. I actually think that it was his late wife, Heidi, that put us together, because I came down and looked at a house. I did not know him 10 days after Heidi passed away. And the house had been on the market for 3 years. And I was going back to Phoenix, and I thought, I'm going to call on Monday and I'm going to make an offer on the house. I really want it because it was historical. And I got home, went to work Monday, lost my job. That house sold 3 weeks later. I got another job. It was no big deal. I got another job and I started looking for another house. And 6 months later, I found the house I bought, and he was next door to it. So,
wow, eh?
Yeah. I think that Heidi had something to do with it. I think that, she had passed 10 days before I went down there, and she said, "You know what? You're supposed to be with him."
Our paths have crossed.
Our paths have crossed many times in life.
We were meant to be together or cross each other's paths sometime. It would eventually happen. And we've always been in the same place at different times.
Yep.
Including her son and I. We were in Iraq together, but didn't know each other
at the same base.
Wow.
And due to what I did in the military, I most likely would have sent him home on R&R to see his family.
Interesting.
And if you've ever seen them together, there's no doubt in my mind it's fate. It's absolutely fate. They're
absolutely.
When you, it made me teary the first few times when you were posting pictures online, because you could feel it in the pictures I got. Teary happy, like joyful tears, right?
Yeah.
For both of you.
Thank you.
Right? Everybody's like, oh, that's just yummy, Netflix worthy. Lorena's just sharing. Thank you.
Thank
Agreed. You. Lori, I find a lot of us end up having those low moments, whether it's when we are seeking out, right? We're seeking, whether it's hope or we just get to that place. There's got to be more, something else. Hitting those places. So was that also part of your story? Like, the synchronicities that end up happening, because that's what happened for me too. There was no denying there was synchronicities that were happening that were leading me to the right people, to the right teachers, exactly when I was needing it. Did you have those same sort of synchronicities leading you?
Oh, absolutely.
I can say I did, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Allie that showed me my path, and she did it kind of accidentally. But just like Lori, I didn't know my whole life was meant to follow the spirit, follow the religion that I follow now. I didn't know that, and I've tried various things, and it was just meant to be. Thanks to her.
Mm-hmm. And that's, when I came, we live in southeastern Arizona, and my husband and I came. We're going to be here for a year. We're going to leave. Within 3 months, it was like, nope, we belong here. Within 6 months, we had purchased land. I walked into our local store one day freaking out because it's like, well, you know, I'm all the logical, show me the proof. And I walked into this store and it was like, holy mac, I'm supposed to be here. So there was a lot of change going on in my life. And this aspect of it that, you know, Allie and others have helped draw out has been very impactful. In fact, she probably didn't even know, but this is my coming out of the broom closet event. A lot of people that
hey, Lori,
are unaware that I practice. So it's exciting. Yay.
Thank you for feeling safe, to be bravely vulnerable and share that part of yourself here tonight.
It's exciting. Yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome. And just, you know, little things that have changed and happened in my life since I've lived here. I'm now, I think, 3 years, you know, we've been here about 3 years. And, you know, the things that I'm recognizing, like, oh my gosh, my family has always practiced witchcraft. We just didn't call it that. We called it, here's your good luck charm. You know, we called it, you know, here's don't pick up dimes. We called it all these different things. Yeah. Thanks for all the congrats on the sides. But yeah, it was absolutely synchronicity. It was absolutely meant to be. This is my place. I found a tribe, and even my very professorial husband has made comments about, wow, you know, you are really, you know, expanding and growing, and you have found this amazing group of people, and it's wonderful. It's freeing in a way that it has eluded me for 55 years.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Cindy Treflin, happy belated birthday. Please know that I love you, and I'm sorry that I didn't catch you on the day of. But I was thinking of you on your birthday as well too. I did, before I go sideways and forget again. Allie, would you say that once you surrender into your spiritual path and journey, that it becomes like a 24/7 flow, and sometimes uncomfortable, but it's not necessarily something that you just like, you know, class 7 o'clock on Thursday, that there's a 24/7 flow when you get there, and right. It helps. You actually have less fear, even though there's more unknown.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where once you start going with it, it's like okay, so when you jump into a river and there's a lot of rapids and you're trying your hardest to swim and swim and swim, and you're going against the current or you're getting beat against the rocks, if all you do is flip over on your back and you start to float and you allow those currents to take you where you need to go, that's what this is like to me. The more I fought it, the more issues I had in life, the more negativity I felt, the more struggles I had. The minute that I realized something is bigger than me is going on here, and I dropped my ego and I flipped over on my back and I started floating with that current, it's taken me to where I've needed to be. And you've got to keep on top of it, because the second that you start paddling again, so to speak, start hitting some rough waters. So it's something that you need to keep going 24/7. You can't just pick and choose. Like you said, I'm going to clock in at 8 o'clock tomorrow and, you know, be whatever until then. You let it go. You let it go naturally. And if, you know, to coin a phrase, if you feel the spirit, you know, at a particular time, you kind of got to go with it. You know, if there's somebody in the grocery store and something is telling you, you need to talk to this person for some reason, you need to go up and do it, because you're supposed to. You're part of that message. You know, you're part of, this is so much bigger. Spirituality is so much bigger than we are. it's our egos that shut us down, and our egos which ego meaning human, not being, I'm prettier than everybody else. Ego is the human side of us. Our ego is what holds us back from becoming more and from understanding what this is.
Yeah. I see it's like a bad puppy that needs to be put in timeout.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Lori, can you talk about ego, like especially newer in that journey? How do you discern, your intuitive voice and your ego voice, or how did you overcome? Because that's a very big hurdle that's for people to maneuver and navigate through. So could you talk about that?
It is a big hurdle, and it's hard, especially here, in the US, in our culture, to just get out of your own way, and to understand, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know all the things, but and to really just kind of shut down that logical part of your brain, long enough to hear the cacophony of noises that are going on, a spirit going over here, you're supposed to, do this or do that. And to understand, oh, that's not just my imagination, that's something more. And I think I still catch myself very much so getting caught with, I want it to be that way. So this is the message that I'm receiving. And I have to logically shut down that part of my, part of my thinking and say, no, it was bigger, it's bigger than that. And I'm not, it's hard for humans to go, I'm not the be all end all of everything. There are, how many people on this show with us that are also the be all end all, we are all in this together. So, accepting that role of, what's my role to play, and how do I take, move this forward, because nobody's got the answers. We're here for experience.
I think you have to trust and surrender. You've got to trust those messages coming through, that it's coming from spirit and that it's coming from a good place. And you have to surrender to the fact that you don't control it. You don't control that conversation, the situation, or the message that's coming through. So you have to shut that ego part off. You've got to trust that message. You got to surrender yourself to spirit and say, okay, you take the wheel. And as far as, like, in my opinion, and I'm sorry to butt in here, in my opinion, deciphering ego from intuition, I always tell people when I teach a class, ego or imagination does not give you a call to action, okay? Spirit, intuition, spirit guide, whatever it is you want to call it, it gives you a call to action emotionally. It never leaves you feeling crappy, okay, but it makes you feel happy. It gives you tears of joy. It gives you that feeling of weight being lifted off of your shoulders, okay? Imagination and ego doesn't do that, okay? When it's true spirit message, it gives you that feeling of joy, that feeling of hope, that feeling, it gives you goodness, but it's always an emotional, and that's how you can tell the difference. One calls action emotionally, one does not.
Thank you. Sam, thank you for popping in and saying hi. Sam's pretty paranormal. Please, folks, take a moment to follow her on YouTube. Sam has been on the show before. She helps produce Bigfoot Banter with Richie B. Sam does these amazing videos where she does paranormal stories at night. She does, I think the story, your Dinner with the Dead. The next one coming up is with Johnny Cash. So she's doing that with Johnny Cash, which is exciting. And please take a moment to check her out. Thank you for being here. Oh, you're getting Johnny Cash ready. I'm so excited about that one. Heidi, is sharing the ego is one of the best game players. The ego is not your amigo.
Very true.
Good way to say it.
Yeah, that's a very fun way to say it. But the ego is doing their job well. Like, it's ego's job to create the disconnect and the fear. It's ego's job to create,
to keep you alive.
Yeah. So it's ego's job. So helping you to find that discernment in what your intuitive voice sounds like, right? Kenny, did you have? Sorry.
Do you also find, because one of the things that I've seen, I was going to say, one of the things that I've seen is the people with the biggest egos are the ones that are the quickest to tell me, you don't know what you're talking about. This is ridiculous. This is all made up, and those are the people I usually go, okay, thank you, goodbye. I don't need you in my sphere.
Yeah. But they play a role, like those, so sorry, that sounds like I'm negating. Like those moments are also that opportunity. I feel it happens a lot at the beginning to push us to make sure that we feel grounded and centered in what we're doing. Because the more that you stand in that, the less you have people coming at you that way. Like, it eventually they just drop off. In my head, and how I encourage folks is, thank you for giving me the opportunity to practice saying, or giving me the opportunity to walk away, giving me the opportunity to practice boundaries, like, the naysayer stuff. I don't know. I think it's sad that they forget that they come from the same source as us,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How I look at it. Kenny, I was going to ask you about ego and fear and maneuvering. Once you maneuver to the other side of it, how magical life is. Like, more magical things just seem to fall into place when you can surrender into that. Have you found that experience as well too? Life must be magical because you live with Allie, just saying.
I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I think ego is, it's like everything else. It's this, another rider on the bus that we have to put up with. I'm just kind of learning as I go along.
Well, you guys, watching you guys make your laneway, your road in, that was all some pretty magical stuff that fell into place.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was amazing. And you've had a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, it's all about, like you said, community, reaching out and when it's right, when everything is supposed to happen, it's that synchronistic thing again. I'm huge on synchronicity, and when you're on the right path, things fall into place for you the way it's supposed to. If you have to struggle, I mean, there's always little glitches in the road, but if you have to struggle to the point where you feel like you're beating yourself up over something, that's not something you should be doing, So Spirit has a way of helping us get to where we're supposed to be, no matter what it is, even pouring concrete.
That was a lot of concrete too.
160,000 pounds of concrete. Yep. 40 yards.
That's crazy. But no washouts this year. How exciting is that going to be?
I know. I'm so thrilled about that. It's worth it.
Hi, Lois. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Lois.
With intuitive development, I'm going to come back to Lori for a second. With intuitive development, was it challenging for you to figure out, if we talk about clairs, so see, hear, feel, taste, smell, was it challenging in figuring out where your strengths were and where your challenges were, and maneuvering through the challenges, like feeling okay that's, was it, because I know a lot of people are like, they don't want the no because it's not as easily validated. I want to see the C. People have an expectation with their clairs. Can you talk about that part of the journey?
My answer to that for the first year was, I don't have any. I'm not an empath. I don't talk to, I don't see things. I don't hear things. I don't. And I very slowly started realizing, because everybody wants to be able to see spirit. In my mind, everybody wants to be able to do that, so I should be able to do that. Not so much, not my strong suit. So it took a while. It took a while because I came in and I was trying everything. I tried runes first, and then I went to oracle, and then I went to tarot, and then I went to witchcraft, and then I went to energy work, and then I tried everything. It was like,
I think that's brilliant.
Well, what's going to work? And what I found was a little bit of it worked, a little bit of all of them worked. And so then you start going, well, but where am I going to focus? Because I can't focus on everything. so I had to back way up. And Allie can tell you, when we first met, when I first started, my energy was all over the place. I would walk into the local shop and people would leave. It's like,
sorry for laughing.
I can't handle you. So, and it was sad. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it wrong. But it took a while. Like I said, it's been about 3 years now. And I've started reading tarot. I'm having a lot of success. Oracle stuck. I love reading oracle. I've been practicing mediumship and, having a little success, but it's like, let's really narrow down what we're going to be looking at. Otherwise, it's just overwhelming. There's so much more than the mundane, than what's sitting in front of us. And it gets overwhelming.
You do realize that the people that left had a lesson to learn in that as well too, and how to discern other people's energies and be okay in that space.
Let me shield here.
Yeah. So
So
hopefully you don't hang on to that.
No, they weren't mean. It was just a very okay. But it's, like I said, it's been a journey, and the first time that I met one of my guides in Allie's class, it was, holy mac. I met 2 of them in her first class, and I was just overwhelmed.
So my question is, did you see, hear, feel? How did your guides present for you?
So one of them, the first one I met, was a guide that is health and wellness. And I have had a lot of questions. I'm a part-time caregiver. We've had some health issues in our family. So I was asking specifically for health and wellness guide to come forward. And he presented, I could see him, almost like a memory in your mind, as we were meditating. Did not hear, but I could understand the energy.
Inside ear.
My questions. He was answering my questions without speaking.
Perfect.
And it was wonderful. Unfortunately for me, for the next several weeks, I was asking the same question over and over and over and over again, with a slightly different tilt. And eventually, and this was one of the things that shocked me, is he punched me in the chest. And I felt it. I felt it. I saw it happening over here, but I felt it. And it was like, okay, not going to ask that question anymore. Message received. Thank you very much. Just, chill. So it's been kind of that seeing in my mind, understanding, and that physical manifestation was really like, whoo. I was excited and freaked out, but not scared at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Allie, when you're teaching and you're watching people have those aha moments, how does that feel?
Oh my gosh. When I teach and somebody, they start wiping away a tear or something, like I said, Spirit always brings a call of emotion, that they're having a real experience, and to be part of that, it's almost like giving birth, I guess, because you're helping them bring that part to life, because a lot of times these people take classes because they've never been educated or enlightened on what it is that they're experiencing. They're kind of freaked out, because they have this image of this person in their head or whatever. And when it actually, they understand what it is, and they understand that it's not harmful, and they understand that it's good spiritually, that is so rewarding to me. It makes me feel like, it just makes me feel like I've really done my job. And
What was your first experience with feeling the other side, or your intuition, or like those clairs, see, hear, feel, taste, know? Like, what was your first conscious memory of connection?
Very, very young. I was raised very weirdly, not gonna lie. I
love weird. Weird is where it's at. Tell me.
Weird is where it's at. I was raised with a constant use of a Ouija board in the house, actually giving the adults their every move, literally. I was raised with spirits being told that if I wasn't good, the spirits would tell them and I would be punished. Well, I began to realize at a very young age that the spirits weren't the evil ones. It was the people, that were pulling the strings. One of my very first physical experiences is I remember laying in bed and having somebody feel my hair. They would stroke my hair. And I remember that plain as day for many, many nights. It was very soothing, very comforting. It really was. The first time that I actually heard somebody, physically heard them, clairaudience kicked in, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I mean, I've never been afraid of spirit. Never been afraid of spirit. Yeah, it's very cool to me.
With your family, did you raise your family the same way? Like that there's just this flow that we are open to, not that it needs to be, not, I think for people understanding that it's a natural way to be without having to put a shingle on your door. You don't have to put a shingle on your door to say that you're doing this work, that it's a natural way of being. But did you raise your family with that being part of your home life?
As they got older, my boys realized, because of the fact that I was in a very toxic marriage with their father for 16 years, my guide was extremely present all the time. And my children have both experienced my guide. Ed, his name was Ed. He actually played with my kids, so to speak. He would do things. He would move things. Richard would be taking a shower and he'd hear stuff moving around on the counter. I mean, they were raised knowing that this stuff is real. And it's so funny because I never thought that it really sunk in. And Richard, who is 42, told me, God, probably 2 months ago, Mom, you are one of the most positive people I know. And I am so glad that I know the weird things about you that I do. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Ryan, my youngest, his wife is part Catholic, part Jewish. And when I know, right? What a conversation at Christmas and Easter, right? Anyway, when I went to visit them, we went to the park and I went up and hugged a tree. And my little granddaughter, Charlie, who was 3 at the time, said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm hugging this tree. I can feel its energy." And the next thing I know, she's hugging trees too. And I asked Mackenzie, I said, "Are you going to raise the girls to believe in anything that I believe in?" And she said, "Well, I'm going to raise them primarily Catholic, but I'm also going to talk to them about your beliefs, your lifestyle." And the next thing I know, I started getting pictures of Paisley and Charlie hugging trees. And, Paisley was a witch last Halloween. Chip off the old block.
Yeah.
So, and they named her Paisley Luna because her middle name is a nod to my belief system.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Lori, did you find as you were stepping into your spiritual journey or your intuitive awakening, conscious awakening, that it rippled out within your family structure as well too?
Oh yeah, I'm the youngest of 5 girls, so big family, big extended family, and what I find wonderful is 2 sisters that I'm super close with. Both of them are practicing as well, and we had just never really spoken about it. So and it was, for example, we always growing up had sweetgrass in our cars as a protective spell. Our mother had it, our grandparents had it, all of our aunts and uncles, every time we go home, we get sweetgrass and braid it and put it in our cars. Well, my sisters have proliferated that, and we all do, abundance spells. One of my sisters does a walking spell every day. And so it's just amazing from them. From my children, I have 2 adult boys. They're a little bit more, okay, Mom, what are you talking about? But as I've studied more of it and looked into it, and we've talked about it more, my eldest he's a little bit more skeptical, but he's very open to it. My youngest is like, Mom, next time you come, I need mustard seed, and could you bring me some? I've got this, and blah 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 blah. Yeah. And it's like, absolutely, and just kind of supporting them to make their own path.
Right. Do you feel that the Chihuahua brain, that the ego that was preventing you from stepping forward in fear of how people would respond, delayed the coming out? But once you did, you could see how it was maybe there's a relief. There's a relief in the surrender and stepping out.
Very much a relief. Very much I didn't have to hide anymore. And I think my biggest worry in stepping into this was actually my husband, who is, a professor, master's degrees, PhD, all but, MOUSE, all this wonderful stuff. But even I was telling Allie, asking for light work now. He's experiencing Reiki. He asked me to do a health spell for him. So I'm like, absolutely happy to. And so, once that ego got out of the way, and I realized, just because we're interested in this stuff, I'm going to definitely look into the Squatch stuff, because my husband's a wildlife biologist, and I swear I want to know, I want to know more. So, it's once it got out of the way of, what, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong about something, but, I've tried things that haven't worked for me that work great for somebody else.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's not true. It just means that it's maybe not one of my talents yet. So
yeah. Agreeing. And doing spell work and all of that stuff isn't part of everyone's path either, right?
Absolutely.
Intuitive development, conscious awareness, your spiritual journey, everybody's journey is going to look different. When I'm encouraging people to do a little spell, I'm like, let's do a little spell work, right? Let's just give it a little try. It's usually when people are so wound up that they don't understand, if they focus their energy on that spell, they're making their energy work for them and with them instead of against them. Allie, can you talk about that?
People here, this area is very eclectic when it comes to spirituality. This area actually calls to people. It draws people in. We don't have any vortexes like they do up in Sedona. Not that I have found out yet.
Can you remind people where you're at?
I'm in Tombstone, Arizona. Yes, Tombstone, like the movie.
Yep.
And this area calls to people. And But then again, we have the other side of it where people are going, "Ooh, you're a witch. You practice witchcraft. You cast a spell." And I always tell them, you know what? Casting a spell is really no different than saying a prayer. Except you're using the earth's natural herbs and stuff like that. You burn incense. Yeah, so does the Catholic Church. I mean, you light candles. Yeah, go to a church sometime. I mean, people don't stop to realize. So I'm sorry, what was the question? No, I'm kidding. So,
Right.
Casting spells and stuff to me is no different than saying a prayer. That's what you're doing. You're putting it out there to the universe. This is what I'm asking for, and in my belief, you never, ever, ever do anything negative. So it's always positive stuff that you're putting out there because it's going to come back to you. We did a spell when we first moved in here. Kenny wanted to retire because of his disabilities and such with being blown up in Iraq. He wanted to retire, but he couldn't. And so when we first moved in here, we did a spell, and it was for a extremely large amount of money. And within 9 months, we had the whole amount of money. He was able to retire. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It worked.
That's awesome. Marlene Van Cleef is sharing. I changed a password yesterday, and the numbers I used in the new password related to that spirit showed up today. I knew it at that moment. I was heard.
Yep.
I love when that stuff happens, right? And a huge lesson is letting go of needing to be validated too, right? Yep. It's part of that trust process and not needing instant validation. And look who's here. Deborah Morse, arriving late. Love you, ladies. Great show. Thank you so much. We love you too. We were talking about you earlier.
Mm-hmm. Her ears were burning.
We were talking about community and the importance of community and how we can love one another, even though we've not met everyone in person. I did have the pleasure of meeting Deb Morse in person, though.
I'm jealous.
Now we're needing a repeat, a visit, I think.
Come to Tombstone.
Jen? Jen's calling me out saying I'm holding back. Am I holding back about the woo-woo stuff? Maybe just a wee bit.
Woo-woo stuff is good.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't feel so woo when you're doing these things, right? Like it just doesn't, it just feels very natural and normal to be doing those things.
Yeah, it feels natural to me anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And going back to one of the things you're talking about earlier, my eldest and I always have the conversation about manifestation. Oh, you're going to go manifest. You're going to go manifest. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to manifest. Then I'm going to step. I'm going to do spell work. I'm going to, look for a job. I'm going to, dig into my finances, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think that that's a real break, people that don't believe in even energy work. If you don't believe in the energy work, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work for you,
You have to have faith in it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's that manifest and step, spell work and step. You can't just, I'm going to cast a spell and then go your merry way and expect, to find, whatever you're looking for.
Yeah. There's a point where we have to take action.
Absolutely.
So we can set our intention and put our energy out, but then we have to be open to if we get that push or pull where we have to take an action as well too, right? And being a part.
That's all part of the process.
Agreed, Jen. Jen and I. So I've been, sharing some witchy woo stuff with Jen as well too, so that we can have our property and not really a zoo, but like rescue animals. But we'll take all the animals. We'll just take them all. We send each other little videos. How about an opossum? Yes. Can we get a skunk too? Oh my gosh, there was some reel. This lady found this skunk, and then the skunk was pregnant, and then she had all these baby skunks. Yes, I want the baby skunks. I'll take the baby skunks. So yeah, working on it. And in different ways. I think, I noticed that for my daughter, and particularly my daughter, more than my boys, like she really gravitated to Wiccan belief system, Hindu belief system as well too, actually. And she's got this beautiful eclectic blend, but honoring where, those traditions come from as well too, right? So looking at what her heritage is and how those other aspects, while still honoring them, blend and help her with her,
right.
Background. So I think all of that is important. I'm just going to take a second, just because we're at the top of the hour, and James, if he's here, will be very proud of me. So taking a moment to do our station ID really quickly, and then we can jump back into our conversation. So if you are just joining us now, thank you so much for being here. You are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 FM, and in the Gulf Coast, and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. So thank you very much for tuning in and listening. Please take a second to check out all of the amazing shows that UPRN has. You can check out our hosts and shows at uprntalkradio.com. And there is something for everyone. We really have an amazing family here at UPRN. Thank you to Joe Montaldo, who is our owner, and Michelle DeRoche, who is our network manager and keeps all of us, including Joe, in line and doing well. We would be lost without Michelle. We would be lost without Michelle for sure. So today my guests are Lori Cunningham and Ali Prefontaine from different places in Arizona. Is it Lori, Sierra Vista? Is that right?
Yeah, actually, if I throw a rock really hard, I could hit a car that might drive to Allie's house.
Oh my gosh, how amazing.
It's about 40 miles away. Yeah.
We can look across the valley and see each other.
Yeah, we can look across the valley. We know where each other lives.
Can you really? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, Sierra Vista.
And Tombstone. I love that. I was really excited when you were moving to, I was excited that you were getting out of that job, Allie.
Oh gosh, me too. I was so happy.
That was, you could feel joy in that shift, and that you were moving to Tombstone. And I remember writing it down on a little piece of paper that was like part of an envelope, the address, and I had stuck it away, and just because I didn't want to lose you if something happened, and
right.
I wanted to be able to connect with you somehow. And then when I had asked you about coming on Spirit Switchboard, you sent me those pictures of the things that I had made you from like probably 18 years ago, at least, maybe even 17, those little polymer clay, the butterfly ornament. Yep. The little baby butterfly.
Yeah. I was so excited when I found that. I was like, oh my God, KL sent this to me.
Yeah, from so long ago. And Deb Morse too, like Deb Morse, she has just supported me in such a beautiful way, especially back then. Like she stood in line for my son Ryan, all Ryans are cutie patooties. Right. She stood in line for with Ozzy Osbourne to get him to autograph a book for Ryan. She's went to this bookstore and got this Ozzy Osbourne, signed book for him. And she sent me coffee one time. Yeah, she's just, held space for me in such a beautiful way. And I will forever be grateful for you guys in your role on that journey. And again, about community, and I stress it a lot about having community and people that you can lean on. And I was on the porch group, so it's Carrie Lynn's Morning Porch is what it's called on Facebook. And I'm like, there's some friendships that I've watched starting to develop in that group, and that's what I was hoping for, where there's that connection that can happen outside of that group as well too. And it's long lasting. Like when you are on that journey, it's messy. It's emotionally messy. Like you are opening up all of those places where there's attention needed, right? Baggage, generational traumas, past life stuff that comes forward. There's so many things, and having space with other people where you feel brave to be transparent about that is important. And I don't know, you carry that with you moving forward. Some people you watch when you're moving forward, they kind of drift off to the side, but those people that are part of that soul family for sure stick with you for the long haul.
It's a tribe, it's a tribe, and you have to feel comfortable, and getting that support, it's what moves us all forward.
Yeah. What I want to talk about next. Lori, have you done paranormal investigations too? Do you have places where you like to go? Like, not even just.
I'm sorry. Have I what?
Done paranormal investigations as well too? Even if you've not done investigations, are there places that have a lot of woo that you feel drawn to, just to feel the energy in the space out?
Actually, there are. I have not done investigations, but there are places that I'm drawn to. We live near the Huachuca Mountains. I actually live on the Huachuca Mountains.
I don't know about them. Please tell me all about it.
Well, the valley that Allie and I are in has been inhabited for thousands of years. We have mammoth kill sites. We have, Coronado came through here. This is one of the summertime hunting grounds that, tribes would come here and then they'd, go back. So it's been inhabited for years. And there are a couple places here on the mountain that I'm drawn to that are near, interestingly, bodies of water. Okay. Not lakes, streams. Right. Here in the desert, we get monsoons that come through. So most of our streams are empty until the monsoon season. Then all of a sudden they're raging. So there's one near the house, which is actually where I picture, myself when I talk to my guides. And I'm drawn there and I could just sit for hours. And in fact, I've had my husband freak out. Where the heck are you? I need you to come home. You've been out there by yourself, doing whatever. So it's a very spiritual place. And I've also had here on my property, we have a couple acres here on the mountain. We have, I don't know what to call it. He's just, he protects the land. He protects our property, and I've had 2 or 3 people that have come over and mentioned, you got this guy here, right? you got this spirit here. And it's like, absolutely. And so every once in a while I'll go out and talk to him and leave him a beer and, he just protects the land. That's,
that part's important. I think that exchange of and respect and honoring is very important. When you're being a good steward of the land, respecting the land and the spirits and the people, it makes a difference in the experience that you have.
It does. And our property, like much of the mountain, was burned 11 years ago. There was a huge fire. And so lots of structures burned down. On our property, there was a home that was burned down. Nobody died, but it was, devastating to the ecology. And so I really think that being able to respect the property and understand my name's on the deed, but I don't own it. It's my responsibility. Exactly. I'm here temporarily, and all things will fade in time. But it's been interesting. Some of the things that I've found here on the property, and the fact that Tio's here, and And it's just beautiful. Actually, when my husband drove onto the property the first time we were here, it was, you can stop looking. This is where we need to be. This is our place. This is where we need to be. So, and Allie was talking about manifesting, it was out of our price range. So it's like, well, make an offer, and they accepted like that. So this is supposed to be ours. So it's exciting.
Amazing. James is sharing, we don't own the land, we belong to it. And James lives on a mountain in his cabin, also has some Sasquatch friends in his on his property that connect with him as well too. So
nice.
Yeah, Wiz is pretty magical in his own right as well.
Yeah, all that's correct, because we live here with nature's children. The fauna, we live here with the flora, we live here with the ancestors that were here before us.
Yep.
And we have to appreciate that, because every now and then, you might get an odd smell, you might get an odd feeling. That's them visiting, saying hi, or hanging out. Yep. And we always accept anything that's around us, especially the animals and the ancestors.
Yep, agreed. Christina is sharing, I really believe that offerings are a very real way to bridge the mundane world and the spirits that we coexist with, to show respect for the gifts they give us.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Invite them to live with us.
Yeah, that we're coexisting, right? And a lot of times when that intensity builds up, and people reach out saying that they're having these experiences that are intense, it's because those spirits are just trying to get some attention, and they're being ignored, right? So they just need somebody to listen, same as what we do. Sometimes not. A gift for a gift. A gift for a gift. Allie, how about you? Paranormal places, spiritual places.
Gosh, it's Tombstone. I mean, come on, Tombstone is haunted.
I know. Just tell me everything about it. I'm so excited.
And the thing is that I was drawn down here so strongly. Okay, I came down here with our friend Ralph. Ralph and I were dating at the time. I love to tell this story. Ralph and I were dating at the time. And I came down here for a weekend with Ralph. And he went back to California because he lived in California. And I eventually bought a house and moved down here and met Kenny. Well, I'll show you how strong this place draws. Ralph just last year moved from California and bought the house across from us. So it pulls people here. Yeah, it pulls people here. But I didn't know why I was so drawn here. When I first came here, I would walk around downtown with my dogs, and I would literally ask Spirit, why am I pulled here? What is it that's drawing me here? As I began to learn more and more about the town, I found out, and this is going to be really funny, I found out that Ed Shefflin, who was the founder of Tombstone, lived less than a mile from my grandfather in Oregon. They were both miners. Okay. Ed Shefflin founded this town, and then he went back to Oregon. I never knew this, right? And I called my aunt and I said, guess what I found out today? And she goes, oh, Ed Shefflin. Yeah, I know all about him. I'm a docent at the museum. And she goes, but I never realized he founded Tombstone. The odds of him and my grandfather, because both of them were miners, they probably knew each other. They lived within a mile of each other in Oregon. Okay. And I went out to Ed's burial place. And I asked him one time, I said, are you the reason why I'm here? Did my ancestors draw me here? You brought me here so I could eventually meet him. It's just that weird thing. I mean, I was alone for like 20 some odd years, and then I met him. Yeah. But anyways, Okay, back to Tombstone. It's
that gives me hope.
Right?
And I'm just going to share really quickly, because Christina, I agree with you 100%. That when we're talking about a gift for a gift, especially the Fae, they get right annoyed if we don't show respect with offerings and gratitude.
Absolutely. We have a circle out here in our yard. We live on 40 acres, you guys. We're off grid 100%, battery, wind power, the whole 9 yards. And we have 40 acres out here, and we have a 30-foot circle that we've made. And that 30-foot circle, we take offerings out. There you go, Tombstone. Yeah, we take offerings out to leave around. We feed the animals. When we first moved here, I have to admit, we were less than kind to the rattlesnakes. But once I couldn't take life, and I educated myself, educated Kenny, and now we don't even hurt the rattlesnakes. We pick them up, we move them, we have a conversation with them about boundaries. They don't listen, but it's okay. But we leave offerings outside for the animals and such. And you know what? So far, so good. I mean, never had a close call. The dog did once, but even then, the snake missed him. You know, I mean, you take care of nature, nature takes care of you. So that's it. Back to Tombstone, okay? Tombstone is freaking awesome, you guys. Haunted like crazy. I worked at the world famous Birdcage Theatre. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done. If you've ever seen any of the investigations on it, I got to tell you guys, it is all true. Kenny and I had just started dating when I was working there prior to that. And I remember the first time I went into the museum, and I opened the museum by myself. And there was nobody there. I had to go backstage by the Black Maria, which is the hearse that carried everybody out to Boot Hill, and flip on the lights and stuff. And I went out and I opened the doors. Now I'm standing in this museum by myself, right? And all of a sudden in my right ear, I get this very low, sultry female voice, clear as day, saying, "Good morning." I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." I ran over, I picked up my phone, I started texting Kenny. "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." He came down. But it's very, very haunted. I've had, when I wore a cowboy hat there, because you had to dress in costume, I would have somebody sit there and flip the back of my hat. Just boop, 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 constant flip the back of my hat. There is a mortician's table that hangs above the Black Maria in the back of the building. Yeah, there's the Black Maria. She carried all but 6 bodies to Boot Hill, just an FYI, and she's worth over $2 million right now. And real quickly, I'll tell you this later, but she used to be on my property of my house, but I'll tell you about that later. There's a mortician's table. You can just barely see it up there hanging. And that table, there's a little boy's spirit in there. His name is Joshi. And Joshi was about 10 or 12 years old. His brother had fallen into the San Pedro River. Joshi jumped in to save him. They both ended up drowning. But
is
Joshi
that verified? Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead. What was that?
Is the story verified where the name is actual? Okay.
Yes. And you can sit there and you can go, Joshi, and talk to Joshi, and he will make that mortician's table move ever so slightly. I sent you a video. I don't know if you can post it on here, but I sent you a video and you can just barely see the table moving. And that's how you talk to him. And my oldest son was in there one time, and he had come to visit, and I was doing that. And he saw that mortician's table, and he dropped a couple of F words, and he goes, no, mom, no, I'm out of here.
Yes, I want that stuff to happen at the Dining with the Dead event. So that's why I have high hopes for this weekend.
Yeah.
It's the limestone building with history. I just want them to move a beer glass across the table.
Right? It's so cool. Hang something from the ceiling, KL. Hang something like that can't be affected by the winds. This cannot be affected by the winds because it is actually backstage. So the front door is way up front.
There's no windows.
And there's no windows in this area. And so, hang something from the ceiling if you can and see if they can move it. But yeah, the Birdcage is very, very haunted. Just very cool experiences. Tombstone has a lot of hauntings. The thing I was going to tell you is that the property that my house is built on, the house next door, actually, where I met Kenny. What was his name? I can't think of his name right now. The mortician. He lived in the house next door to my property. My property was where he kept the Black Mariah and the horses. And then they built my property on it. Yeah. Yeah.
So and there's no question that you were pulled there for a reason.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt in my mind. It's too weird to even, people, they look at me like I'm crazy, but there was a reason why I was pulled down here.
Amazing.
Same here.
I never knew so many. I worked at Circle K in Sierra Vista, okay, and somebody saw the tattoo right here on my arm at one of my other store managers, and he looks at me and he goes, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he pulls up his sleeve and shows me where he's got the 3 rays of Awen. So many Druids, so many Wiccans, so many Norse pagans. I mean, there are so many here in this area. It is like a huge font of spirituality. It's weird.
Nature based.
Yeah.
Yes. You hear so much about Sedona in Arizona.
Yep.
If people came to this area as much as they go to Sedona,
they'd realize it.
Maybe you don't want
one. We're a lot cheaper than Sedona, but
maybe you don't want that many people.
Yeah, not really.
We're terribly expensive in the weather's.
The crowds of people that are vibrating at the same level of love and respect, like not the touristy people who trash things and create havoc, right?
Right.
Well, there's a lot of native history here.
A lot of native history.
Cochise, and it's quite possible that this land is so full of native history. Why wouldn't we connect with that?
Yeah. I mean, Cochise's grandson is buried in the Tombstone cemetery. Cochise is buried in the mountains somewhere right behind our house. I mean, this is a really, really intense spiritual area. And it has been for many, many years.
Have you played with the weather yet? Not that, like...
The weather plays with us.
Yeah, the weather plays with us here.
But I just wondered, like, sometimes, you know, when you're connecting in, especially elemental-wise or, indigenous culture as well, too, then there's some shifting that you can do with weather.
Not gonna lie, I tried to get rain the other night before we poured the concrete because the ground needed to be wet. And I tried to get rain. I talked to the gods. I even did a little woo thing. It got cloudy, but then it dissipated. And I was like, oh, damn, that was right there.
Some full belief next time, right? We need to all like be clapping and
clap our hands.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny when we get pulled to places like that. And with Tombstone, to me, it's always been palpable. Like I've always been drawn to it, watched anything about it, history about it.
Yep.
And what happens for me too, like when you first moved and were posting pictures that all of that was happening, and it's even now with both of you here, it's like static energy that's happening that I can tap into, right?
Good.
Like hair is standing straight up.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's something here. There is something here. I mean, I don't know. You know, maybe someday we'll take the backhoe out and find a alien ship buried or something. I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
That would be cool.
Well, I think they're everywhere. I think
Oh,
they're already everywhere, but definitely in that space. And where there's Sasquatch, there's aliens. So
yes,
my belief system.
Supposedly
anyway.
the base here has some.
Yeah, supposedly the base here is supposed to have alien ships here. So who knows, right?
Yeah.
Lori lives closer. She can tell you.
Oh,
You got it. You got it.
Sam is just saying, if you find an alien ship, make sure that you get pictures. Pictures are always important.
Yep.
Well, there's a really strong history in the Southwest of alien activity. I mean, up in the Sitgraves Forest, the big, the forest workers, where one of them was taken away. They made a movie out of that one. There have been sightings all over the place. You know, between here and southern Colorado is just like, holy mac. You know.
But do you feel that potentially part of the intuitive stuff that's happening for you is connected to aliens or off-world dimensions or off-world beings as well too, that there's a layer of that that you're also tapping into and connecting with?
I think it's a very strong possibility. I can't say, of course, 100%, but I do know, and I've told Kenny this, and I think I've told Lori this. I know I've told just about everybody. When I let my dogs out in the morning, I get up very early. I'm usually up between 4 and 4:30. And when I open the back door and I let the dogs out, that dog run faces directly east. And I will stand there and I will see lights in the sky, and they will come down at a diagonal, not quickly, I've seen lots and lots of shooting stars, not a shooting star. It will come down diagonal, and then it will just go out. Now, the odd thing about that is that the base is due west of us by 20, 30 miles. And when you go east, there's really nothing out there for about another 30, 40 miles. It's just all barren land. So for these lights to sometimes there's two, sometimes there's one, to just kind of drift, just be there, and then boom, they're gone. And trust me, there's nobody around here with drones. Number one, our winds are too high for drones. We get wind gusts anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour out here. So people aren't flying drones. There's nothing over that mountain except for more people who are off grid. And at 4:30 in the morning, there's nobody playing with stuff out there. So go ahead.
Have you tried meditating or telepathy and trying to connect with them to see if they'll show up differently, brighter, or connect?
I haven't tried that, probably because my mind is mostly focused on coffee by that point. But I can absolutely give it a shot, because that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I feel like when they're present, and just a belief system, and I could be wrong as well too, that when they present in that way, they're allowing you to see them for a reason. So is there something about that vibration with you that they're connected with as well too?
Maybe.
That's a good point. Dragon is sharing that light show is interesting, Allie. I wish that I understood when I was younger, not that I can change that, but I can make an opportunity now. Like, my favorite place to be is along the northern shore of Lake Superior. It always has been, still, always will be. There's so much power there energetically, like the water, the rocks, the trees, and it has everything from UFOs to Sasquatch. It's got all of it up along the northern shore. So that's my intention this summer or this fall when I go back up, is to sit in it in a different way and have that time. I take time to see what kind of connections I can make happen. I could try remote viewing from here too, but I find I just get too distracted with the stuff that's happening in the city and the noises around me. So
right, and see, that's where I've got it made, because we're so quiet. We're so quiet.
Oh, I love that again. I'm craving that again.
Well, come on out.
I have to get my manifesting chops going
out here.
I know. Yeah. Yes. I think that I would love that. And not work related, just experience.
Come out and play.
Yeah. Experience related.
Well, that's the thing. You could come here and visit, and we could show you so much that it doesn't have to be work related, but when you go back to work, you have a lot to share.
Yeah, I bet. That's how I felt about Tupelo, Mississippi, which I wasn't expecting. Like, I had went to Tupelo, and that was it was weird. It felt like I had been there before, like I had this weird connection. So I do feel like I'm, I've had those lives where I've from the United States, because in all of those places. And when I met Deb, we started in La Jolla, and then we went all the way up to Santa Cruz, and so many spots in between, like Santa Cruz, when we went to the Redwoods, it was super overwhelming in a very positive way. Like those trees, not that you could hug it, but I leaned against that tree for as long as possible and walked barefoot, like socks and shoes came off. I'm going to walk barefoot through the trails there.
Yep.
So
I love the redwoods and the ocean. Those two places, they call to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Lake Superior is like an ocean.
Yeah.
It's just
it is. It is.
Yeah. And it's funny because, when I was growing up, because I grew up, Northern Ontario, my dad used to tell us that Lake Superior never gives up her dead. I don't know why he used to tell us that, but as little kids, that's what we heard was Lake Superior never gives up her dead. And so then I've seen people and can connect with people from the time I was little, right? But then as I got older, I'm like, come on, Dad, do you need to talk to me? Just like I would go home for a day and not tell family I was there and plant my butt along the shore just so I could connect in, right? But yeah, it's those power places. Do you feel, Lori, the more that you open up, especially through the land, that those spots are connected globally? Like maybe more those power spots are anchors that are connecting globally for people?
Well, it's like Ali said before. I think there's something about this area, and it may have been that historically it's been such a positive, we're going to come here for sustenance, we're coming here for this, we're drawn here for the water in Arizona, we're drawn here for this and this and this, that I think that energy becomes stronger. I think it'd be really interesting if that energy was poured in, that type of positivity and life-giving force, et cetera, was poured into any area. Would it have that same effect of raising that vibration to where it became, a magnet? Mm-hmm. So do I think that they're connected? Yeah, I do. But I don't think they're necessarily unique. I think it can be created somewhere else. And light workers, like everybody here, light workers are needed to help do that, because we're just, the world's just, ugh.
Yeah. Well, it's harder to stand in our light and let it shine at the moment too. It's a little harder. So again, why that community is so important. I feel that, those shifts are coming, and people like both of you, when you're feeling pulled to move somewhere, are helping anchor the energy so that we are able to shift that vibration, right? So like we're all being called or pulled to a specific place to help anchor that energy and light. So the more people that respond and listen and follow through with it, I think the better for all of us.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that ley lines are everywhere, but do you know can we chat about that?
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny. I was just thinking about that because when I first moved down here and I realized what a strong pull everybody had, and how we were all being drawn to this area, I started taking people that I knew. I actually began it with a guy that I was dating before I started dating Kenny. Well, actually, while I was dating Kenny, whole other story. But anyway,
and let's just let everybody know that you I don't know if you still do, but you did write romance novels.
Yes, I did. But I started looking at Dan's, where Dan was born. I was born. I took Kenny's, where he was born. And I found out, interesting enough, that we were all basically on the same line. Even though Dan was born across the country on the East Coast, Kenny and I were born on the West Coast. Dan and I were on this line. Me and Kenny were on this line. So I think that ley lines have a lot to do with it. Yay. Thank you, Sam.
That's really funny. So Sam's Pretty Paranormal is sharing. Don't worry, I did the same thing, and my hubby was my pick.
Yay. I'm glad to know I'm not alone. But, you know, if we were to really sit down and, like, if I were to take where Lori was born and start matching it up, I wonder how many of that. I wonder if those ley lines, you know, because I believe that ley lines are actually kind of responsible for the vortexes and stuff that we have. Like in Oregon, they have strong vortexes, in Sedona, you know, and other places around. But I wonder if we were to start studying those ley lines, studying the people who believe like we do, the ones that respect nature, the ones that have the experiences, the ones that are more on this spiritual level, not saying, you know, other people aren't, but on the way that we think, if we would find more coincidences like that, and wonder if, you know, maybe, I don't know, it's almost like a Stephen King novel, you know, maybe everybody born on the same longitude and latitude are going to get together at some point and rule the earth. I don't know. But, you know, it makes you wonder if there's not something there, because the earth sustains us. The earth has this energy that we have no idea. We have no strength against that energy. This earth has an energy, and we are part of this earth. Therefore, I think that those of us who are called to action could have a connection like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I knew that.
Passionate, sorry.
Oh no, I love it. Thank you for sharing all of that. I agree about the ley lines, and I find if I'm working somewhere, you can tell the difference when they're at a ley line, especially if it's at a crossroad of a ley line. That's like some wild space to work out of and share messages from.
You can feel it. It's almost like a pressure, or I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah,
it's different. It's just different.
To me, it feels like if we were on Star Trek stepping into like where they beam over to the other places. To me, it feels like that's what it would feel like if I was standing in the beam. That's what it feels like to me. Our friend Kevin Z Sun Dragon is sharing. I love that thinking, Ali and Heidi, who is from Colorado. I resonate with your words, Ali. Heidi, maybe you should email and just share, because Hod is pretty intuitive and got some woo going on as well too, and see.
Yeah, feel free to
Heidi,
email.
do you do ley lines as well too, or have you researched or tapped into? You've done some energy work with the grids.
Nice.
Yeah, I feel a lot of us, especially now. There's just so much. Okay. Next question about where you guys live. Tunnels or folklore? Weird folklore? Cryptid folklore? Anything extra out of the ordinary that I may not know about, or the listeners may not know about, that you would like to educate, share?
You first, Lori.
Me?
If there's something or you don't know anything, that's okay too. But I have this thing about tunnels, and my friend that comes with me, not a tunnel fan. They're not a tunnel fan, and we all have things that we don't like. That creep us out for whatever reason, and they're definitely not up for tunnels. But I'm very drawn to tunnels. But I don't know.
That's kind of cool. You wouldn't find really tunnels around here. You'd find a lot of shafts around here, because there's tons of mine shafts under the ground. Like in town where I own my house, I only own my property down to 78 feet, because after that it's all mine shafts and everything. Out here, he owns his property all the way down. But Bisbee, is there a lot of folklore around Bisbee, you think, Lori? Yeah. Bisbee was mining town that was revived as a artist colony now. And you talk about another haunted place, and that's Bisbee. Bisbee has it's a higher elevation than we are. It's got tons of hauntings there.
And that's fascinating that it's an artist community, because artists move and feel through their intuition in order to create, right? So they're drawn there for a reason.
Exactly. Arizona is like this huge, I mean, people avoid Phoenix, at least I do anymore. But like you go up to Jerome, which is not quite by Sedona, but getting up there. Jerome is also an old abandoned mining town that the artists moved into, and it is so spiritual. And then you've got Sedona, which is a very upscale artist town. You've got Bisbee down here, which has turned into a big artist town. And the spirituality in these places is off the charts. I mean, it's just amazing to sit and listen and listen to people.
And then you have all of the Navajo Nation.
Yes.
That northern tier of Arizona is immensely spiritual.
Yep.
And for the most part, it's very they haven't built it up. So the Navajo Nation is one of the places my husband and I go when we want, we want something spiritual. We want something, away. And it's amazing. It's whew, I'm getting chills.
Yeah. There's actually a cave that's not far from you, Lori. Actually, it's on the back side of the Huachuca Mountains, more towards Sonoita. And there's a YouTube video out there somewhere. I watched it. And it's something people stumbled on. You have to follow a trail around the back side of it because there's like nothing but ranch land back there. And somebody walked into it, and it was petroglyphs in it. There's there were images that and I think it was said that someone had stumbled in there a long time ago, and not many people have gone into it. But so one person just disappeared. They never found him again. But it's got some really good images on the walls. I've been wanting to go there at some point. Try to find it.
My husband was 30 years with Game and Fish, and he stumbled upon multiple Native American just areas that nobody had seen. He said he was chasing a mountain lion. He had a collared mountain lion, and he was chasing it and went down over this cliff to follow it and ended up finding a little cave. And he said it was just the coolest feeling that he could literally, it was like somebody had just left to go, I'm going to go hunting or whatever, complete pots, cooking circle. And I asked him, I said, what'd you do? And he goes, nothing. He goes, who am I to disturb that? It's been there for hundreds of years. So there's a lot. And Carolyn, like you, I'm also drawn to caves and tunnels and very comfortable underground.
Yeah.
So, it's
very comfortable. Yeah, very comfortable underground. And that's an interesting position for your husband to be in as well too, right? Like that's wonderful that he would want to protect it at the same time, protect it. And I always, very, very sad because it was all of this land, none of it belongs to any of us. We are treading places that we weren't meant to be treading on, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So respecting it, and cool that he could feel that energy as well too, right? Mm-hmm. And I love all that. In my head, I was like tunnels and Kentucky goblins. Is there more is there an Arizona goblin in mining? There probably is.
There's a cryptid. We have a cryptid. I'm trying to think of the name because it just left me. Allie, do you know? Oh, criminy. I'm gonna have to think about it. I'll think about it. And if I can think of it, I'll put it in the. But yeah, there's a cryptid that belongs here in the Southwest couple of them. The Mogollon Monster is one of them.
Mogollon Monster. Yeah. My son calls it, no offense, my son, Richard, he calls it the Canadian Werechodi.
Why?
Because he said it's because we're right by the border. I keep telling him that we're on the border of Mexico, not Canada. It's a cross between a werewolf and a coyote. He calls it a Canadian werechodi.
Okay, now I'm going to research that more. Sam, Heidi, we're on a mission.
Right?
Yeah, so Heidi, that was interesting too. You've heard Heidi.
Tommy knockers.
Tommy knockers.
What was that? Late last night, the night before? Tommy knockers, knocking at my door. Yeah. Stephen King novel. Great novel.
Love that.
Yeah, let's go. Let me just put this up. Just shift some things around a wee bit. If people would like to reach out, I know that. Yes, Heidi's saying we ride at dawn. I know that, Lori, no pressure, but in budding medium, as a budding medium, and reading tarot and oracle and all of those amazing things, is there a place that you are practicing out of? Can people reach out to you if they wanted to connect with you? That's okay if you say no.
I do it for myself. I'm
point.
just starting, and I've had some really cool experiences bringing through grandparents and some other folks that I had no idea. But I don't read professionally at all.
Where do you?
I can recommend.
Can you give? I'm sorry to talk over top of you. I'm so sorry. The metaphysical store that you connect with, could you promote that for us?
Absolutely. The store is called Strega, which in Italian, I had to look it up. And it is an amazing community location. They carry everything from costumes and clothing to, herbs and potions and candles, and they conduct classes out of there almost every weekend. Yes, everything. And literally, if you just walk in and with a coffee and sit down, you'll meet mediums, you'll meet witches, you'll meet energy workers, you'll meet, Christians will come in, and she is.
Thank you. I just need to be mindful of our time, because I know that our next show that's coming up next is Jeffrey Pritchett with the Church of Mavis. So we need to find Stregarella, amazing name. I call my friend Stregarella. She's Italian, amazing. And Allie, really, really quickly, where can people reach out to you if they were wanting to connect with you?
I got my email up there. It's Allie, ALLYS_Allie @yahoo.com. Allie's Allie.
Thank you.
And I read at Strega. I read tarot at Strega. So if you're in the area,
please reach out to Allie.
Chupacabra, Lori. That's what it was.
Chupacabra. Yes.
I'm all on it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, Kenny, for chiming in as well too. I appreciate all
unexpected.
Three of you. It's okay. I love it. I appreciate all of you being here. Next week, the Yapel family from the 1771 Enfield House, which is the Connecticut Demon House, will be here talking about their journey as well too. So thank you to UPRN, the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, and the UFO or the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM out of beautiful New Orleans. Have a great week, everybody. Good night.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks for the invitation.